a very good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on the time zone you are in. My name is Thian Chin. I'm from Singapore. I'm the Director of Critical Information Infrastructure Division, Cybersecurity Agency of Singapore. It's my honor to share with you the topics of today, which is on Singapore cybersecurity strategy for the last 5 years and some of our cybersecurity practices that we have published. In the next 20 minutes or so, I hope to share 3 things. One, some little fun facts about Singapore and a little bit about my agency, Cybersecurity Agency of Singapore. And then I would also like to share the 4 key pillars under the Singapore cybersecurity strategy. Why are they important? What are they about? And what do they hope to change? Last but not least, the third part will be sharing some of the publications that we have issued over the last 5 years and how to get them. So, about Singapore and our agency, some little fun facts. So Singapore is a very tiny little country at the southeast end of the Malaysia Peninsula. And we are so small that our dear neighbors once labeled us as the little red dot in the midst of the peninsula. So we are small. You can tell from the land area compared to Africa. We have a huge population, relatively. About 3.7 million are citizens. The rest are actually foreigners or permanent residents. And we have one of the highest GDP in the world among the developed countries. There are many things I would love to share with you about Singapore. In the context of today's presentation, I would like to just hit on 4 of them to give you a context of how we develop the cybersecurity strategy. So Singapore has the second fastest. Now it's the second fastest. We used to have the fastest internet connection in the world, but I think now South Korea has overtaken us. So Singapore has the second fastest internet connection in the world. More than 80% of our total population are active internet users. So you can tell from these statistics that Singaporeans and our citizens are heavy users of the internet. We rely, our day-to-day lives revolves around the internet and connectivity. So much so that in 2014, our Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong launched the Smart Nation initiatives. The crux of that initiative is to harness technology to allow Singapore to stay ahead as a global city and to improve the lives and livelihoods. 3 pillars is under this. There are 3 pillars that's under this Smart Nation: a digital economy, a digital government, and a digital society. 2 years ago, we have also included a 6th pillar into our current 5 pillar of total defense. The 6th pillar will be digital defense. The objective of having the 6th pillar as the digital defense is to safeguard and to guard against security threats, including misinformation, like what was shared by the previous speaker, cyber attacks, and phishing scams. All right. So this is what it's encompassing under the digital defense. Switching gear, Singapore is CSA in Singapore. CSA is considered a rather young agency. We are only 6 years old this year. We are part of the Prime Minister's office and we report to the Minister of Cybersecurity. As a young agency, we are just slightly over 300 employees, 300 plus employees. Our vision is to have a trusted and resilient cyberspace that allows Singapore to capture the benefits of a connected world. So pretty much position, we believe that cybersecurity is an enabler to digitalization and to many digital and technology opportunities that can bring us. Our mission is to keep Singapore cyberspace safe and secure, that underpins all this national security, digital economy, and most importantly, the way of life, the way how Singaporeans and our people uses digitalizations and technology. So we have launched I mentioned earlier, we have launched the Singapore Cybersecurity Strategy 2016 to 2020 for the 5 periods of years, for the 5 years, last 5 years. So it was launched in 2016, and the 4 pillars includes this. Essentially, at its core, the National Cybersecurity Strategy sets out the Singapore's vision and priorities for a resilient and trusted environment for Singapore. It focuses on the 4 pillars. It looks at why these 4 pillars are important for Singapore, and what Singapore plans to implement under each of these pillars. The 4 pillars are first introduced in this strategy, and recently we are undergoing through another review. So by the end of this year, we will be launching the Singapore Cybersecurity Strategy 2.0 during our Singapore International Cyber Week. That is a kind of a heads up to you. So we will be publishing that second version of Singapore Cybersecurity Strategy later part of the year. But let's come back to this. Let me share with you the 4 pillars that works for us in the past 5 years. The first pillar is actually about building a resilient infrastructure. This is core to it because the resilient infrastructure will allow our critical essential services sectors to tap on a trusted and safe structure in which the essential services can run and be delivered. The goal is to enhance our capability to respond quickly and effectively to cyber threats, which this in turn protect our essential services. The pillar here is akin to securing our crown jewels. So in 2016, CSA conducted public consultation and drafted the Cybersecurity Act. The Act itself is a legislative piece that gives CSA greater power to secure all our CII, critical information systems. In Q1 2018, we passed the Act in the Parliament, which was this whole Act was brought in force in third quarter of 2018. The Act basically, fundamentally, allows CSA to impose legal obligations on all the CII owners, both in the public sector and the private sector, to protect their systems from cyber threats, and most importantly, to report cybersecurity incidents to CSA. It also authorized CSA to prevent and respond to cybersecurity threats and incidents. Notably, in 2018, the SingHealth, one of the biggest healthcare public hospital, was breached in 2018. It was one of the largest data breach in history. The Act allows CSA to move fast, swift, and it facilitated the process to remediate this whole cyber attack and strengthen the whole infrastructure better. And because of this incident, it also accelerated the implementation of this Act by many months. Things were heightened up overnight, and because the fact is that no sectors want to be the next in line to be attacked. On CII protection, we work with the natural regulators of each of these critical sectors to build up cybersecurity capabilities. Some of the things or initiatives that we co-own, co-create, co-conduct with some of these regulators includes cybersecurity exercises. These exercises comprises of a series of scenario planning sessions, workshops, and tabletop discussions focused on responding to cyber incidents. And these cyber exercises are not just played out at the organization level, but organization CIIs together with CSA, together with the natural regulator within the sector. So these 3 parties come together to kind of plan, react to tabletop exercise to cyber threats, to cyber scenarios. So such cross-cutting cooperation is essential in order to strengthen our ability to deal with increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks. We also have launched the Cybersecurity OT Master Plan, Operation Technology Master Plan, in 2019. this master plan outlines 4 key areas, including code of practice, building a OT ISAC, building a training institute, OT training institute, and also improving the creating the OT cybersecurity competency roadmap. So some of these initiatives can be found on CSA's website. Under the pillar 1, the way we organize ourselves into 11 sectors, we have well over 200 CIIs in over 17 companies and agencies. Close to 80% of them are privately owned. 35% of them are in OT sectors. They contain OT, operation technology. The core to our working relationship is via a 3-tier governance model. At the national level, CSA is at the apex. We set standards, policies, ensure compliance, coordinate cross-sectorial or sectorial incident response. Sector leads are the natural regulator responsible for ensuring the delivery of the essential services, formulation of policies, and joint operation response. Last but not least, the organization themselves are responsible for their cyber preparedness and the incident readiness of each of the companies. The second pillar is actually about creating a safer cyberspace. Now, beyond the critical sectors, we have the larger part of the stakeholders, which comprises of MNCs, SMEs, small medium companies, and of course the man on the street. The second pillar is about creating a safer cyberspace for the rest of Singapore beyond the critical sectors, and this covers everything. All right, it involves working with multi-agencies, including the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Infocom. So there are literally key 3 trusts, and this trust focuses on enabling and empowering the business and the society to ensure that the digital infrastructures are safe and trustworthy to use. So this inspires confidence, and then it hopes to create confidence of use on these digital platforms. There are 3 key trusts I mentioned earlier. First is about securing our core digital infrastructure. By this, we mean the telcos. So there are a lot of things that we are working with our telcos to ensure that the internet traffics, to ensure that the identification of this traffics can be pushed up front away from the companies. Things include basic hygiene. Things include the routers that we put into the homes of the users, the men on the street are actively protected, have the basic hygiene like password change, patches are updated on a constant basis, on a continual basis. There are many focus areas under this core digital infrastructure. One of the things I want to mention is the cybersecurity labeling scheme. This is akin to awarding the IoT manufacturers, the smart device manufacturers. It's a scheme to incentivize them to produce better and secure devices by, the more secure, in short, the more secure and the more safe that these devices are being marketed, the more ticks or the more stars they have in that case. So hopefully this scheme can kind of encourage the consumer to buy cyber safe product. And in another way, in this other side of the coin, is to incentivize the security product, the product manufacturers to produce more secure products. So this is an interesting scheme, which I will share the links to more info on this scheme. The second one is really about safeguarding our cyberspace activity. This includes helping the SMEs, helping the board level to understand why cyber is an integral part of business. All right, and they were and initiative under this will also focus on creating toolkits to help companies to kickstart how to run, how to build a cyber program that consumerate the kind of business that they're setting up. Last but not least is the wider population about awareness, appreciation, how we want to create a cyber savvy population. This is a difficult task. It's from the young as young as a young age about cyberbullying, all the way to the other spectrum, the 60, 70-year-olds, grandmas and grandpas, on how to use digital products safely. So these are all covered under safer cyber space. Next, it's about, we recognize that cybersecurity is not just a security subject, but there's also a need for having a vibrant cybersecurity ecosystem. All right, what do we mean by this? I think the focus on this third pillar is about the development of a very vibrant ecosystem. It is important because we recognize that cybersecurity is both a security imperative and as well as a economic opportunity. We need a vibrant security ecosystem to nurture the deep cybersecurity capabilities that we, and for that we need to safeguard the national security and recognize that market forces alone will not be enough to make this happen. So what do we do? This is done through establishing and nurturing a strong workforce and industry to help to sustain our cybersecurity needs and make cybersecurity an enabler of economic growth. Some of the examples includes innovation and growth program to drive development of innovative cybersecurity solutions that meet local needs. The startup of ICE71 through innovation cybersecurity ecosystem. CSA has also doubled down our efforts to build deep capabilities and support the spectrum of ecosystem activities from R&D to innovation to export. Upstream, we are taking over the management of cybersecurity research and development to grow the research capabilities and talent to support our national needs. We also plan to increase translation through stronger collaborations between academia, industry, and government to drive adoption of technologies from R&D. Downstream, there is cybersecurity industry core for innovation, helps key local end users to meet their operational cybersecurity needs through challenge statements, through the identification and facilitating matchmaking between cybersecurity vendor companies and the companies who need those solutions. Next, the last pillar is about international partnership. Now, cybersecurity has no boundary. All right, so there is a need to move out to the international arena to connect, to partner, to mind share some of these cybersecurity practices and capabilities, and to increase collaboration. So Singapore recognizes the importance of forging strong partnership both internationally and regionally through multilateral and bilateral engagements. Bilaterally, we want to deepen our operational and tech exchanges. Multilaterally, we want to raise awareness and contribute to discussions on norms of responsible behavior in cyberspace, as well as the importance of confidence building measures and capacity building efforts. To that end, we have a flagship every year, which is in October. We call it the Singapore International Cyber Week, SICW in short. We host this, and this is a platform that brings together government officials from the region and beyond, as well as industry representatives to discuss cross-cutting cybersecurity issues through a multi-stakeholder approach. We also want to highlight that ASEAN is also the first regional grouping that has publicly expressed our in-principle support for the 11 UNGGE norms from the 2015 UNGGE report. So we are working amongst the ASEAN country to further develop these plans to help to build these necessary cybersecurity capabilities to adhere to and implement the norms. In 2019, October, we have also set up a ACCP, the short for ASEAN Cybersecurity Capacity Planning Program. So that center was set up, and now it helps yearly. It helps to train the different stakeholders from the different ASEAN countries in the area of governance, technology, engineering in cybersecurity. So we hope through working together with ASEAN, we can jointly build up a regional cybersecurity capabilities in both technical and policy areas, so that collectively in ASEAN as a whole, we are more secure as in the region. Next, I switch gear to the publications that we'd like to share. So we actually have a wide range of publications. So in the interest of time, just to name a few here. So obviously the cybersecurity strategy, which broadly outlined the Singapore's approach to defending the digital domain. And there's a heads up here that the next version, 2021 to 25, will be launched in the Singapore International Cyber Week in October this year. Earlier, I also mentioned Pillar 2. So Pillar 2 itself is about safeguarding the bigger, safer cyberspace. So we have a Singapore Safer Cyberspace 2020 was launched last year, who has a lot of details about what are some of the initiatives that I outlined earlier. On a yearly basis, CSA also published our Singapore Cybersecurity Landscape. All right, so it's an annual publication to talk about what we have seen about the cybersecurity activities, situation, trends, insight, both locally and globally. We also have the Singapore Operation Technology, OT, master plan that was launched in 2019. I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the slide. So this master plan was created, right, to enhance the security and resiliency of CRI sectors, really. So there are many good details on how we're going to do it. The latest is about, I think in another 1 month time, we'll be publishing an entire cybersecurity OT competency framework that hopes to provide a roadmap, to guide OT practitioners on how to improve and how to level up their skill set. And we have also produced a couple of guidance documents on how to do risk assessment, how to do cybersecurity audit, how to use threat modeling to actually enhance your risk assessment, to do a better risk assessment in your environment. And last but not least, the cyber labeling scheme I was mentioning earlier is about rating smart devices according to their cyber hygiene level. All right. So with that, I think that's about time. This is my address. This is our address, our Facebook. To visit it if you have time, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.